All right, welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This is the third episode, but day two within the third episode. And I believe we're up to part 7 on our Let's Play series right now. So in the last part, what we did was we did a bit of investigating around the murder scene, and we're trying to prove the innocence of our client, Mr. Will Power, and see if we can't get him freed from the accusations of murder that he's currently up against. So October 18th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 4. Let's get right into it. I always love the trial episodes. I think those are really the highlight of the series. For me personally, I just love finding all the contradictions, and it's honestly really satisfying. Nothing against the investigation episodes, but those are definitely a little more laid back than the pretty very exciting nature of the courtroom. Here we go.
The court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please.
The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio 1 of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point towards this fact.
I see. Very well. I would like to move on to some testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness.
Very well. I call a most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court? Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studio, see? This here is the employee area. The actors did a run-through of their action scenes during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studios was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past the security station, there's a gate, see? Past that are the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder, where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. The victim, Jack Hammer. The defendant, Will Powers. And a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Then after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? Should I listen to that whole thing again? I think honestly we can skip it. I didn't find anything problematic with it. I think I can probably remember that.
So the murder weapon was a spear? How medieval.
Samurai spear added to the court record. Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see?
Understood.
Let's call the security officer to the stand. I've been wanting to bring this old bat up to the witness to the witness stage, and that's not even me being angry at her. Her name was literally Old Bat. Let's see if we actually find out what her name is this time. Will the witness declare her name? Here we go. Let's find out what her name is. My, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. Jeez. Your name, please. Oh dearie, no need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Oh, that's really weird. Your name, please. It's nice seeing Edgeworth get all flustered like this. It seems that he has a hard time getting his witnesses to say their name. If you remember 2 parts ago, in this series, he was having a bit of a trouble getting what's his face, Red, White, Blue Corp to say his name. I don't know why, but it seems to be like a running joke with Edgeworth somehow. Yeah, exactly. It seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting his witnesses to say their names. Wendy Oldbag, dearie. Wait, her name is really Oldbag? Jeez. So just call me Grandma. Oh, whoa, she's going fast again. Objection. I object to the witness's talkativeness.
Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand.
I was just getting to the good part, dearie. Perhaps we can get to the testimony.
Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct?
Yes, see, I was.
And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you.
You know your stuff, dearie.
You may begin your testimony.
She sure is one hell of an old bag. Alright, here we go. Witness's account. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest had been doing a run-through there since the morning. I had some errands to run that morning. We're definitely going to be pressing her on that. I want to know what she was up to. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from then until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me because a certain man rocked right by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers, that man right there, and he was heading towards the studio.
Alright. You saw the defendant then? Very well, let's begin the cross-examination. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor. Alright, here we go. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Okay. How did she know that they were doing a run-through if she wasn't there? Let's press her. A run-through? They were working out a scene between the Steel Samurai and the Evil Magistrate. They got the basics figured out by noon and were to use the afternoon for practice. Rehearsal was supposed to start at 5. That's why poor old Hammer went to Studio 1 in the afternoon. So Powers was in his dressing room sleeping when he was supposed to be practicing. Talk about a laid-back hero. If there was a run-through in the morning, why did you only get there afternoon? Okay, she had some errands to run. Let's press. What kind of errands? Oh, well, you know. Answer the question. Actually, I was watching poor Hammer and Powers, observing, you know? Observing? Weren't you supposed to be at the guard station? Whippersnapper, I told you I locked the gate, didn't I? I did my job. I'm not sure your boss would see it that way. Anyway, I always watch Hammer's run-throughs. Always. Never missed one in all my years. Wow. I want to see a Steel Samurai run-through too. You could quit being a spirit medium and take up guard duty. Not a bad idea. Oh, Maya. It was 1 when I got to the guard station. It's at the main gate from then until 5. Murder happened at 2:30. Interesting to me because a certain... Alright. We know how she knows this, but I'm just gonna press her. Make sure... like, how do you know that he walked by at 2, if you returned at 2:30? 2 o'clock? You're sure? Sure as spit.
Well, who is the man?
Really, you should try not to get so excited at your age. You might strain something. Now, don't get your skivvies all in a bunch. I'll tell you who it was. Aren't they similar ages? Alright, let's press her on this, because we definitely know that that's not true. So you saw Mr. Powers. That's what I said. Got wax in your ears, honey? Nick, this is your chance. Yeah, time to pull out the secret weapon. I'll say it again, it was him. Alright, apparently we have some kind of secret weapon. Let's present this. Actually, let's just double check. Yeah, present it. Let me get this straight, Oldbag. Or, Miss Oldbag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? But you're talking about the man in this photo, aren't you?
Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly?
None other than the Steel Samurai, defender of Neo Old Tokyo. Miss Oldbag, is this the Mr. Powers that you saw?
Of course.
Didn't your mama teach you any sense, sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Powers, right?
No, they can't.
Well, I mean, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of the Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai.
I know that. I wasn't born yesterday. No one in this court is accusing you of that, Mr. Witness.
He's having trouble calling her Oldbag, apparently.
However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you?
Nosy old man. He's a judge, it's his job. Of course I have proof. What? Huh? Even Edgeworth is surprised?
The prosecution would like to ask the witness.
Please make known all the information in your possession ahead of time.
How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed, all of you.
Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me this isn't any good as evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look. Wow, old Windbag here has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's pretty good.
Let's hear about your proof then.
Okay, here's her second testimony. I never say anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning, during the run-through of the action scene, I saw Powers trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now look at that picture. You can see he's dragging his leg. See? Clear as day. That's how I knew it was Powers. Happy?
So he had sprained his ankle. Very well. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
She's got to be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals. Alright, we're just gonna go press everything she says then. I never say anything I don't mean. Okay, that's fine. I saw Powers trip and fall. Press. Trip and fall? Yes, and to think, he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai. What a laugh. So Powers sprained his ankle. I helped make it better for him, of course.
You helped make it better?
I kissed it where it hurt.
Let's just skip over that part, shall we?
Where was the assistant then? Oh, her? She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. You may continue your testimony. He broke a prop? Sure did, his own samurai spear. His samurai spear? The murder weapon? Luckily, I was there with my duct tape to fix it. This strikes me as a significant detail. I better write this down in the court record. Samurai spear updated in the court record. Was Mr. Powers' ankle badly sprained? Not so bad that he couldn't walk around. He went to his dressing room to rest up after lunch. Thus the nap. Anyway, I saw him dragging his foot when he walked. Dragging his foot? Okay. I think we've heard enough. Haven't we, Your Honor?
Well, there is one thing that bothers me.
Which is...
Where is his Steel Samurai costume now?
Actually, well, we couldn't find it.
We're looking though.
Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the Steel Samurai, yes. And it is clear that the person in the Steel Samurai suit was Mr. Will Powers.
I suppose that's right.
Okay, I'm just gonna go off a whim here. Someone kicked in that door frame or that gate drain frame. I think that person busted up their foot in a similar situation to how Will Powers busted up his ankle. I still don't understand why that drain was kicked in the last episode. That still hasn't been explained yet. Are you sure, Your Honor? Will object. Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but we have to agree that this photo shows a Steel Samurai. Nowhere in this photo can we see Mr. Will Powers.
The defense has a point.
Alright, he's back on our side, or not on our side, but he's back to, examining things objectively. He was really biased against us in the last trial, which is annoying.
I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. We have to consider that possibility also.
Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor. Will the witness continue her testimony, please? No need to ask twice. Here's the third time. The time of poor Hammers' death was 2:30 p.m., true? The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them.
So if no one else went to the studio, then it would have to be the Steel Samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Alright, here we go. That's true. Press. Are you absolutely sure? Oh, quite, Sonny. Nobody suspicious looking passed by at all. Nobody suspicious looking. Right. What about before you got to the guard station? You mean before 1? Why, everyone was in the employee area before then. And I locked the main gate so no one could get in. That still doesn't explain who came in through the drain. Not to mention, if they had, I would have seen them. Why? Are you sure? The witness has answered the question. Anyone going into the studio had to pass by the witness. That's right, Sonny. You let him have it, edgy boy. Edgy boy? It doesn't look like Edgeworth really likes nicknames either. Old Windbag sure has balls, or... Oh, you know what I mean. Old Windbags have a way of skipping over important details after all. Or for that matter, entirely forgetting them. How convenient. Something for you to look forward to, perhaps? Okay, I'm not really seeing much here. He did die at 2:30. Guide map, card key. And then it was Will Powers. No one else went there. If they had, I would have seen them. Let's press here. I don't know what else to do. How do you know that? Eh? Didn't I just explain? I gave donuts to the young detective. And then, after some rubbish about it being a secret, pal, he told me everything. I see Detective Gumshoe shares his fellow officer's fondness for donuts. That actually should be the S and then the apostrophe because it's plural. Whatever. Alright, the only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. Dang, I really don't know what to do here. No one else went there? If they had, I would have seen them. Okay. She skipped over some details? The only person I saw go to the studio before then was Will Powers. Oh, sorry, I pressed press on accident. So we're looking for a detail that she might have missed. Alright, we're gonna present this again, just because I feel like her saying the only person I saw go to the studio before was Will Powers, that doesn't answer the fact that that person in the studio, or that person in the photo, may not necessarily be Will Powers. I think that was the right move. Hold on. Look at this photograph one more time. The photo was taken by the camera at the gate at the studios, correct? Yes, sirree, Sonny. So, whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture. And here I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground. Right. Anyway, it's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data. Oh, right, we still haven't figured out, because the photo that she gave us, or the photo that we stole, actually, is photo number 2. We don't know what photo number 1 was. Ooh, you know, if you wanted to work at the studio, we might have an opening. That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo are printed the words October 15th, 2 p.m., photo number 2. Even I know what that means. It was taken at 2 p.m. on October 15th. Really, Sonny? Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is the bit at the end, where it says photo number 2. Photo number 2? The computer only held data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1, if it really was the only photo? Good point, good point. Order, order. Please tell the court what you mean by this, Mr. Wright. Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows not 1, but 2 people went to the studio that day. Yet there's only data for one of these photos. Who could have erased the data for the other photo? Only someone with access, the security lady herself. You watch your mouth, whippersnapper. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers. But the camera on the gate fired twice. That means 2 people went by. Well, yes. That's what it would seem to mean. Can the witness explain this to the court? I don't understand these newfangled computer things. Edgy boy, help. I'm not really sure Edgeworth is gonna be keen on helping you out here, but I mean, we'll see. Huh? Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what this means either. Some help you are. You are a whippersnapper too. Whippersnapper? Something the matter, Miss Oldbag? Ah, that's right. I just remembered something. Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate. Someone other than the Steel Samurai. Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. I see. Your testimony, please. Alright, here we go. Is this the 4th time? The other person. Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded on the security computer and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you see. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo that day. Miss Oldbag, this is the first I've heard of this. Well, of course, Sonny. I've only just remembered it. Right. Anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination. Why did she keep the Steel Samurai photo then? Because she thought that that was Will Powers, so why did she not throw that away? Why would she think that he's suspicious? Because it took place before the murder. Well, I'd say this was a turn for the unexpected, but I kind of expected this. Alright, here we go. Every day after, okay. Okay. Suppressor. How exactly do you determine what isn't suspicious looking? Oh, you can tell by looking at their faces, for the most part. For the most part? This is a murder trial, Miss Oldbag. Well, I didn't touch that suspicious-looking Will Powers photo, did I? I think she's missing the point. Well, who in the heck was in that photo you erased? A fanboy. Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys, real freaks if you ask me. They get information about the rehearsals from gosh knows where. They're always hanging about. One was there that day. Wait a second. Didn't you just say no one else could get in? Oh, if that fanboy is truly a child, and Maya mentioned that the target demographic is 10 years old, then that means that a kid could have fit through that drain and snuck into the studios. But that still doesn't explain. Did the kid kill Jackhammer? That doesn't seem... That's kind of messed up. I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Those were your words. Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. The grate has been loose for a while. It leads outside, and well, that's where they come in. They come in through the drain? I told you they were freaks. Oh, and? They're kids. Children. Whippersnappers. Kids? So, on the photo that you had erased, it was a boy. Probably 2nd or 3rd grade. What? Oh, order. Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studios that day. One was a Steel Samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be in about 2nd or 3rd grade. Oh yes, well we see his type there every day. Can't stop him, can't catch him. A boy in 2nd or 3rd grade. Like, it seems to me that kid is the most suspect, right? He snuck in. And also, like, you're a little kid, like, you're gonna be like, oh my god, I'm gonna stop the evil magistrate, so I'm gonna stab him, without knowing that that's like a real live person. I feel like that's what could have happened, maybe. I assume it will be hard, if not impossible, for a young boy to wield a samurai spear. Oh, okay, that's a good point too. Impossible, I'd think. It's quite heavy. But when was it duct taped back together? Because he could have just held it by the part that broke. Right, as I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I erased the data. Nick? What's going on? I mean, the boy was there, that makes him a suspect. Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him. This court will take a 5-minute recess. Oh, that's a first. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information. And no forgetting vital information this time. Huh. October 18th, 11:08 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 3. Mr. Powers? Yes? Tell me straight, were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio? I didn't go to the studio. I was sleeping, honest. So who is the Steel Samurai in that security photo? How should I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off in the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really. Oh, is it the kid? And he's dragging his foot because he's too small for the costume? What? You should take better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anyone would steal a Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? It doesn't really look good. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick, what are we going to do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this. Right. And it'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day. Right. But if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. Oh, shoot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey, Nick, it's time. Okay, let's go. What does that mean? Please don't sigh like that.
Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edgeworth, will you present the prosecution's thought on this matter?
Prosecution's thought are simple. Nothing has changed. The other person who went to the studios was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence, but there is still no one else that could have committed the crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant, Mr. Will Powers.
Very well, Mr. Wright, your thoughts?
The defense disagrees with the prosecution's claim. There is another person who could have committed this crime.
Order! Interesting. Let us hear who you have in mind. However, be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized.
Right. Great. As if the stakes weren't high enough already.
So, who was the person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed murder?
Oh, shoot. I know I say this a lot, but this is really one of those times where I wish that we were live streaming this. It could be the assistant girl. The assistant girl hasn't said anything, and I don't know why people aren't, taking her in as a witness. But the assistant girl did get the sense that someone else was in the studio that day. My money is honestly on the grade school boy. He's small enough that if he wanted to wear the Steel Samurai costume, he'd be dragging his feet in it. But then the question becomes, let me check the court record again to look at that picture. How is he holding the samurai spear? Yeah, there's no way that that's a grade school kid. He's too big. Or is he? No, if you look at the picture, both of his pant legs are dragging. I think that's a little kid. But how are his arms so thick? And how is he holding the samurai spear? A break in the shaft has been mended with tape. Now, the security lady is a possibility. She's been saying... But I think she's too much of a fan of Jack Hammers to be doing this. And we still don't know how the grade school kid... how he fits into this. He kicked in the drain. But then he never left the studio. He never left through the main gate. Because if he left through the main gate, it would have taken a picture of him. So he probably escaped through the drain again to get out. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking. I think it's a grade school kid. I think that's the reason why his pants legs are dragging. It's because he's too small to fit the costume. And he killed the evil magistrate because, he dressed up as the Steel Samurai and he thinks he's actually that character. And he killed, the evil magistrate without knowing that that's a fictional character. And it's also suspicious that he kicked in the drain to get into the studio and we never saw him go out. So my money is on the grade school boy. Alright, we got a lot riding on this. Let's do it. It was the grade school boy. Uh-oh, was that the wrong choice? Why isn't anyone saying anything? But... Are you seriously suggesting the boy did it, Mr. Wright? Grade school boy kills veteran action star with spear. That is true, that doesn't sound that feasible. For one thing, the murder weapon was with the Steel Samurai. Would you care to explain just how the boy would have obtained it from him? Maybe that was a dumb move on my part. Maybe? Maybe? How about absolutely, Nick?
Mr. Wright, I'm afraid I have to penalize you as I have warned.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen.
May we move on, Mr. Wright?
This fight isn't over yet. If you would, Your Honor, one more chance, please.
Very well. Go ahead. So, who was this person other than Mr. Powers that could have committed murder?
Alright, it's gotta be the assistant girl then. I guess my hunch was wrong. It was the assistant. The Steel Samurai costume was in his dressing room. She stole it, and in doing so, she became the Steel Samurai.
So you're saying the Steel Samurai in the picture is really the assistant?
That's correct, Your Honor. If you're serious, you've got guts, Mr. Wright. Remember the photo? Wasn't the Steel Samurai a little lame? He was dragging his foot. Oh. Uh-oh. Bad feeling time. Remember the testimony concerning Powers' injury? Powers and poor Hammer were at the run-through. Oh, and me. What about the assistant? Oh, her? She was cleaning up backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Powers' ankle. Shoot. The assistant knew nothing of Mr. Powers' injury. She could look the Steel Samurai look with that costume, but she couldn't walk the Steel Samurai walk. She wouldn't have limped. Ugh. That kind of takes the legs out from under that case. Mr. Wright, I'm afraid I have to penalize you as I've warned. Oh jeez, is it really going to be the security lady? One more chance? Jeez, this judge is really sympathetic to our plight. It's gotta be the security lady then. It was the security lady, Wendy Oldbag. Who? The Steel Samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about the injury. The security lady, Oldbag. Wait, is it really her? Oh, dang. Oh, what? Whippersnapper.
Order. Is this true, Oldbag?
Oldbag? That's Miss Oldbag to you. Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the Steel Samurai costume, then slipped into Studio 1, the scene of the murder. Why would she go through the trouble of wearing the Steel Samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in his costume, she could point the finger at Mr. Powers.
I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. And it only took you accusing two innocent people to get there.
Oh yeah, right here. Sherlock Holmes 2, baby. That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgeworth pounces? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new damning evidence?
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter?
The prosecution has no meaningful objections at this time. That's a first. What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you all think I did it, is that it? Edgy boy, don't just sit there, do something. What's my move? Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way? The thing is, I really don't think it's her. Well, you know what? Let's press further. The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's actions on that day. But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer? You forget that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope. Wait just a minute. What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy, the one whose photo I erased.
He's only a grade schooler though, as you said. 2nd or 3rd grade, was it?
That doesn't matter. When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds tops.
Your thoughts, Mr. Wright?
That boy is not the killer. What? How can you be so sure? Oh, or is it be nice to the kids and mean to your elders day? Whippersnapper. I have proof. We do? Proof?
Indeed. Then let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed this murder?
Jeez, I wish I knew what that proof was too. It's gotta be the murder weapon? It's too heavy? Your Honor, the murder weapon was a samurai spear. That very spear is shown here in this photo. How could the boy have taken the spear? It's impossible.
I see. Well, would the witness care to comment on this?
The windbag. Speechless. There's got to be a first.
Very well. This court will suspend proceedings on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Wendy... What was her name?
Something Oldbag, Your Honor.
Then the prosecution will look further into this Oldbag before we continue. That is all. This court is adjourned.
Alright, one of the more interesting trials we've... Wait a second. I'm not going to just sit here while you run off barking up the wrong tree. Me! I'm talking. Everyone. Oh great, stop the presses. The windbag wants to talk.
Miss Oldbag, what is this all about?
And I'm not a big, knowledgeable person on court proceedings, but if the judge, hits the gavel, doesn't that mean it's over?
Have you omitted something from your testimony?
Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about.
Not to talk about? By whom?
Huh? You mean it wasn't Edgeworth who told her not to talk?
Well, testify.
Oh jeez. This is the fifth one. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studios on the day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? So they told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studios that day. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free.
Miss Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this from the court until now?
Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap, and I always do what I'm told. No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the Oldbag.
Mr. Wright, your cross-examination.
Okay. If she's right about this, she can definitely sue that company and be like, hey, I almost got accused of murder because you told me to, shut my mouth about this. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people. Press. Who were these people? Well, the director and the producer, for starters. The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director?
Of course.
Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it. So where were these people? The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime and they had a meeting after that. Where? Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer. Studio 2? I forgot that no one's checked that out until now. Studio 2? There was a Studio 2? Well, if you look at the guide map, here it is. You go through the gate and all the way to the left. The path where the monkey's head was fallen over.
Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue the cross-examination?
I think I've already asked all my questions, but we'll continue cross-ex. They said they had nothing to do with it. Miss Oldbag, this is a trial for murder. I know that's silly. Still, they were pretty convincing about having nothing to do with it. And they gave me a little bonus on the side. So you got your bonus and you still talked. I think I've asked all the questions I have to ask. No, we're continuing this. I guess there's no harm in getting as much info as I can. Of course. So they were actually in the studio? Yes, the whole day. When they heard about the murder, they beat it before the cops came.
I'll kill this woman, I swear it.
I feel sorry for Edgeworth. Almost. She really left him hanging on this one. Them? Who are these people? Oh, okay, we've been through this. Yeah. Huh. We're gonna ask one more question, I think. Nick, I guess pressing her was the right thing to do. For an old windbag, she sure likes keeping secrets. Let's get as much information as we can. Alright, let's press her on this, I guess. So, you were told not to talk. That's right, by the studio and the TV bigwigs, no less. Why didn't I hear about this? Don't be too hard on yourself, Sonny. We're all in on it. Okay, we know that. We know that. I think we got all the info we need, though. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I don't think we have any evidence that would, you know... Just gonna ask one more time because I don't remember the answer. Oh, the bonus thing. We'll continue cross-checks again, but I really don't know what else there is. We asked that. Is that? Yep. We're gonna press one more time, sorry. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, I guess we just gotta take a break. I don't really know what to do. Yeah, sorry, you're seeing this again. Dang, I really don't think there's another piece of evidence that would, that we could present that be convincing here. Yeah, let's take a break. Your Honor, we have learned there were others at Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer and some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they were not questioned. I hold that it is impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. The court acknowledges the defense's point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. This ends the day's proceedings in the trial of Mr. Will Powers. That is all. This court is adjourned. Yeah, not my best court performance, but, you know, we get by. It seems like we're going to have another day of investigating. I want to see what's inside Studio 2.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me.
Oh, really? It's nothing. Or should I say... We'll be going down to the studios to do some more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses for certain. So now's my chance to get material for the cross-examination. So Nick, have we figured out just who it was in that Steel Samurai costume? Could it really have been the old windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers?
I don't think it was her, really.
Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers. Poor old windbag. I feel kind of sorry for her. Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios. Right, we'll be back to visit you soon.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Alright, to be continued, and we'll be doing that on the next episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. But until then, sounds like on the next episode we'll be doing a bit more investigating, and then after that we'll have another trial. And hopefully that'll be the conclusive proof that our client, Mr. Powers, is not guilty. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me on the next episode.